should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better.
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, happy Saturday. Chow come out the gate and gifted $5 and said happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, Chow. Thank you so very much for that. That was so sweet and supportive of you, and I appreciate that so very much. And then Cindy from sunny South Florida came in and dropped 5 memberships, and those went to Patricia Ann, Catery Troutman, Lucille Balls, Katie Falk, Cute Texas Toads. If you are any of those people and you were gifted from Cindy from sunny South Florida and you are aware you were gifted, please tell Cindy thank you, and I will grab the crazy train and pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you, Cindy. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Thank you guys for being here. I know. Hey, Abellis and Miss Kimmy, Cinda, Patricia, Linda, Tom is here, Hannah UK, Chow is here, Kimmy C123, a name here. It's so good to see y'all again from this morning. Rhonda R, good to see you. Teresa Clay, good to see you. Roxanne is here. Kool-Aid Mustache, I like your name. Good to see you. Tom, we got no, that's Tam. I'm sorry, Tam. It's hard for me to see sometimes from this far away. Hey, Connie, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Jill is here. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Michael Green Chilechicken is good to see you. And Lorraine, good to see you. I'm so glad y'all are here. Orange Rose, well, the thing is, thank you for being thumbs up number 22, Eddie. Lori Ann is here. Tony is here. Good to see y'all. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Kool-Aid Bandit. That's funny. The kids like Kool-Aid. They come in the door and they'll go, what is it? Hey, 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 or something like that. It's funny. Hey, Anna. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday. I hope you guys are. It is hot here like it has been. I think we're supposed to get storms this afternoon, which will be a welcome improvement. I have a couple of things to share with y'all today. Maddie's mama, good morning. Bella said great names in chat. Rhonda was thumbs up number 4 from Las Vegas. You might be hotter out there than I am here. Hey, Miss Kimmy. I can't tell what degrees it is outside. Let me see. It's 86 out here, but it feels like about 172. Hey, Glitter, good to see you. Okay. It's raining all day here, chilly and gray. I would take that. I would take that for right now. I'd be a little worried about the geese in my plants, but other than that, I think it'd be welcome. So this is going to be for Lilly and Jack Sullivan. It says, Nova Scotia missing kids while policing... Why... Oh my goodness, I'm already messing up. Why policing expert believes case is now a criminal investigation. Now, they'll trick you with these titles, so let me make it clear. It is not, hey, Shaker Maker, and Joe Neal. No, it won't let you unless you're a moderator. Okay. Ooh, good gracious, girl. Hey, Kathleen. Okay, so it has not been declared a criminal investigation, right? They'll trick you with these titles. A policing expert believes the case is now a criminal investigation, and we're going to find out why. But it hasn't been declared a criminal investigation. I like that shirt, but not for a man. I think it'd look better on a woman. All right, let's watch the video. The video.
Investigation now, I'd be...
Okay.
If this is not a criminal investigation now, I'd be totally surprised.
It's been almost 6 weeks since Lilly and Jack Sullivan were first reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station. On Wednesday, the RCMP in Nova Scotia said many RCMP units, including Major Crime, are involved in the investigation, along with the National Center for Missing Persons. Police say they formally interviewed 54 people in their search. And this former Halifax regional police officer doesn't take that lightly.
They're out there, and the only way they're going to see or get results in this is to be out there talking to people, looking at videos, looking at topography and what have you and so on. They're not in offices doing this by a laptop, let's put it that way.
In an update this week, the RCMP say they've collected hundreds of hours of video from areas surrounding Lansdowne Station between April 28th and May 2nd, when the kids went missing, and have received nearly 500 tips from the public. Police say they've searched every aspect of the family's home and received authorization to seize and examine devices.
They'll go on the balance of probabilities based on the area that we fully searched with a lot of people. We can't find any evidence, be it a backpack, a shoe, or whatever. We can't find the kids. If you can't find them, somebody has to say enough is enough right now for searching those areas. So now we move to where? There's only one other option. A nefarious take to this. In other words, a criminal type thing.
But I'm wondering if he means like a criminal type thing, as in somebody could have snatched them and took off with them, like, a trafficker or something to that effect. Or if somebody hurt them that knows them, like, there might have been a homicide.
That's only my personal opinion.
Police say they've used polygraph tests in some interviews. This former polygraph examiner south of the border says the test is used to monitor how a person's nervous system responds to certain questions.
If somebody is successful in the test, then not that they're being eliminated, but they'll spend more time on people that are not successful. Not passing the test doesn't mean you're guilty or you're involved. It simply means that there's some issue there, maybe some knowledge, guilty knowledge.
Moriello says he's seen people pass tests who were later proven guilty. More than 160 search and rescue volunteers have scoured through the densely wooded area surrounding the children's home, but only a small boot print was found.
Hey, Southern Cats. I wish we had that here, Hannah. You think he means homicide? Joe said, no, that's not what he means. None of it is. South of the border means in the United States, I do believe, because they're in Canada. Linda said maybe they were handed to someone in the family who were concerned about their safety. I think it's possible. As of a couple of days ago, they had seized devices. Let's hope this shows something. They got devices from the stepdad and everything around there, like, relatively, I think it was maybe 2 weeks into the investigation. From what I remember reading in the articles that we've gone through together. I hope they find something there. I hope somebody might have connected to a Wi-Fi or something. Yeah, it can't be used in court here either. Yeah. Just recently? I thought they had that a while back, though. I could be wrong. Yeah, I wish we had more natural products here.
Police continue to refer to the case as a missing persons investigation.
They're covering it all, everything they can. And you only do that in depth when there's a criminal investigation with major crime on scene. They're not there just because they're major crime. They're there to do their major crime work.
Mitchell Bailey, Global News, Halifax.
That's interesting. Okay, can we go back now to... Okay. So the article reads, a former Nova Scotia police detective says he believes the search for 2 missing children in Pictou County that has lasted more than a month is now a criminal investigation. Siblings Lilly and Jack Sullivan, aged 6 and 4, were reported missing on May 2nd from their home on Gerlach Road in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia. Jim Hoskins, a retired Halifax regional police officer and former major crime staff sergeant who is not working on the case, says the actions from the police and the agencies involved have led him to this conclusion. Quote, they're looking at this with some criminal aspects as well. They just haven't said so, he said. In my personal experience, if it's not a criminal investigation now, I'd be totally surprised. In an update Wednesday, RCMP said finding out what happened to Lilly and Jack may take longer than they had hoped. Oh no, that's not good. Police revealed that several national agencies, including the National Center of Missing Persons and Canadian Center for Child Protection, have joined the investigation. Quote, we're accessing, evaluating, and analyzing a significant volume of information from a variety of sources, unquote. Corporal Marthu, investigative lead, Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, said in a release. Quote, we have a very coordinated and deliberate approach to make certain all information is meticulously scrutinized, prioritized, and actioned to ensure that nothing is missed. Police also revealed they've conducted interviews with 54 people and administered polygraph tests to, quote, some of the individuals, unquote. The children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, previously told Global News he offered to take a polygraph and that it had been administered. Tammy. Thank you. 2 kids gone is definitely criminal. Yeah. One of them could be a missing persons case. 2 of them is highly suspicious. You know, Tom, I think that too. I think if it was 1 child, it could be possible, but 2 children missing is, I don't know, it's not very common that 2 go missing at the same time if you're talking about trafficking or something. Sorry. Michael says, why doesn't law enforcement always treat a case as criminal until they know for sure? They should. That way nothing is ever missed. I wouldn't get hung up on what it's called by law enforcement, as it's worked the same at that age especially. So you think the criminal aspect of this would be worked the same as like a trafficking or missing persons case it would be about the same. That makes sense though. It says, the article continues, if they're giving polygraphs, then they want to see if people's statements are truthful as far as they can interpret from the polygraph. But to me, it's a criminal investigation, and that's how I interpret this right now, Hoskins said. How polygraph tests work. Tom Morello, a forensic consultant and lecturer at the University of Maryland's Criminology Department, said it's important to understand how a polygraph test works and why it might be used. Excuse me. Quote, I need you to understand that the polygraph is not like a lie detector. It doesn't detect lies, he said. It simply detects when a person responds with their sympathetic nervous system to relevant questions, unquote. He points out that police departments will use polygraph tests as an investigative tool, but it isn't foolproof. It isn't a foolproof way to find out who is guilty. Not passing the test doesn't mean you're guilty or you're involved. It simply means that there's some issue there, maybe some knowledge, guilty knowledge, etc., he explained. He adds that if police have a suspect, they may also use the polygraph test as a psychological tool to draw out a confession. Quote, I've done about 1,200 polygraph tests when I was an examiner for the federal government back here in the United States, and there were times when before I even put the attachments on, the person admitted things, he said. So you create this psychological environment for them to be truthful and honest, and sometimes it works. A nefarious take. As a police officer who has taken part in similar investigations in the past, including searches for children, Hoskins says he knows there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work going on in this case. Quote, they're not sitting around in nice, cool, air-conditioned boardroom all day talking about this and strategizing, he said. They're out there, and the only way they're going to see or get results in this is to be out there talking to people, looking at the videos, looking at topography. They're not in offices doing this by laptop, he said. Let's put it that way. RCMP have said searches of the property where the children went missing have included every aspect of the home, grounds, outbuildings, nearby septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts. Hoskins says investigators will be going on the balance of probabilities and consider the fact that multiple searches of the heavily wooded area around the home have not turned up any evidence. If you can't find them, somebody has to say enough is enough right now for those searching areas. So now we move to where? There's only one other option. A nefarious take, in other words. A criminal type things. That's my personal opinion, he said. Here's another video we can watch real quick.
Just over a week ago, the road behind me was still swarming with search and rescue personnel as RCMP resumed their ground search for 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan.
Pandora, good to see you. I think it's more effective than a polygraph. You do? I bet it's money going to be from someone from around that area that's responsible. I think somebody from around the area is responsible too. Miss Sarah, good to see you. People are struck on saying they were spotted on video May 1st. This is not true. RCMP posted seen in public on May 1st. I'm assuming an eyewitness clarified this. I call bullshit on May 28th for clarification. It was said that an eyewitness account saw them in public with their family on May 1st. I thought they detected truths too, actually, to be honest. Hey, Miss Sarah, good to see you. What do you need, baby? I thought you had some out there. Polygraphs don't detect lies, but lie detectors do. Yeah. Love you. Popping in to say, hey, got lots of errands and stuff to do on my list today. I hope you have a good day, sweetheart.
Who first went missing 3 weeks ago in Lansdowne Station. Now, this has been a story that has dominated headlines across the country and beyond as people speculate and wonder about what could have happened to these 2 missing children.
Hey, Lori. Lori Green, good to see you. Did you see my comment? Also, if you look up eyewitness in a case, it's interesting. Okay, we'll look it up. Scientology is evil. Yeah, I don't mess around with that shit.
Now, just because the road is deserted doesn't mean RCMP are finished with their investigation. In fact, they just put out a statement Wednesday calling on the public for more footage.
Investigators are now asking anyone who has dash cam footage or video along Garlick Road between noon on April 28th and noon on May 2nd to contact Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit.
They add RCMP are committed to exploring all possibilities in the case and have formally interviewed more than 50 people, with more interviews planned in the coming days. The children's stepfather, Daniel Martel, says he has been interviewed extensively since Lilly and Jack were first reported missing. You mentioned last time we chatted that you'd offered to do a polygraph test.
That is correct.
Has that already happened?
That has happened.
Right. And did you get results from that yet?
I do have results, and I don't know if I can share those results, but they were good in my favor, we'll say that.
Martel says he is glad the police have put out the additional call for footage and is again asking anyone with information to come forward. Despite not having had contact with the children's mother, Malaya, since May 3rd when she left the search area, he says an RCMP liaison has been assigned to keep them both informed as the investigation progresses.
Trust the RCMP word, and I mean, you don't have to trust my word, but I'm the only one doing media for Jack and Lily, trying to keep the story alive and get them found.
According to RCMP, any future searches will be determined based on the course of the investigation. They say they've covered a 5.5-kilometer search area and received 355 tips so far in the search for Lily and Jack Sullivan. Ella MacDonald, Global News, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia.
Lord, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, it's fixed. So it is important to establish a timeline of when they were last seen. I do trust the RCMP and what they say because we have read it before in previous articles where the RCMP released that they were seen in public. the day before they went missing with family. So that gives us a timeline and lets us know that as of the day before they were alive. I'm thinking that whoever did release that or did tell the RCMP that, I'm hoping they pulled video footage from whatever store they were at. I trust it, and I think it's a reliable thing. Yeah, I apologize about being muted. Sorry. Okay, so this is about the polygraphs, I do believe. Lilly and Jack Sullivan update, officials conduct polygraph interviews. Okay. I saw that this video was playing, and it said missing person statistics in the U.S. by the numbers. And we've talked about this a few times, but I thought we would listen to this real quick. Because they'll strike me. Let me take it back. Over 650,000 people are reported missing each year on average. 4,400 unidentified bodies are found each year. This is from NamUs. And around 1,000 of those are still unidentified a year later. A lot in New Jersey per this list. Texas. Missing person reports have declined by over 40% in the past few decades. As of August 2022, the U.S. had over 21,000 people reported missing. 16% of those reported missing were reported missing while under 18 years old. (62) of missing persons were born male versus 38% female. 58% are white, 18% are African American, and 12% are Hispanic. Like, there's the chart. So it's 58% are white, 16 African American, 12 Hispanic, 7 biracial, AIAN, American Native is 3%, Asian is 2%, and other is less than 1%. 40% of missing persons cases have been open for over 20 years. So less than 90 days or up to 90 days is 1%. 3 to 12 months is 5%. 1 to 2 years is 5%. 2 to 5 years, 13%. 5 to 10 years, 14%. 10 to 20 years, 22%. And more than 20 years is 40%. Yes, Tom, these statistics are from the United States. Alaska has the highest rate of missing persons per capita. But if I had to guess for that, it's because there's not a lot of people in Alaska and it's easy to get lost in the wilderness out there, from what I understand. I've never been, though I'd love to go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's just so pretty to me. At 163 cases per every 100,000 people in 2022. So for every 100,000 people, there was 163 cases of missing persons. Hey, Candy, watching from Alberta. That's awesome. Glad to see you today. Massachusetts has the lowest rate at 2.3 per every 100,000. But Massachusetts is a high populated area. New England, look at that house. Look at that. I love that. I think that is so cool. Like the way they would just build it back then, and it was just so big and roomy and well structured. Y'all understand this is like from like probably 16, 17 hundreds, and it's still standing. You see all these new cars right here, and this is there, and it's still standing. Sorry, I have like an obsession with old houses. I go fishing every year in Alaska. Plenty of places to never be found there. Absolutely. Girl, isn't it pretty? I have to. I know I keep talking about it today. I have to get me an old house. Hey, Anders, I think police suspects, the parents, either one of them or both of them, Malaya's behavior is really strange. I think I do have questions about Malaya's behavior, but I don't think the parents are involved. I think if the parents were involved, they'd be arrested by now, honestly, but I definitely could be wrong. That was all of that, so we'll read the article. It said, no, we're not doing that. Thank you. Okay, Nova Scotia's Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or the RCMP, announced on Wednesday that investigators have conducted polygraph interviews as part of the effort to determine what happened to Lilly and Jack Sullivan, siblings who vanished from their home in Lansdowne Station on May 2nd. RCMP stated in a news release that investigators have interviewed 54 people, which has included the administration of polygraph to some of the individuals interviewed. Let's see if it gives us. So it gives us the actual news release from the RCMP on that. I'll read that real quick. This was from June 11th. The Nova Scotia RCMP's intensive approach to the missing persons investigation into the disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan continues. More than 11 Nova Scotia RCMP units are working on the missing person investigation, some of which include the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, Pictou County District RCMP, Digital Forensic Services, Truth Verification Section, Legal Application Support Team, Police Dog Services, Underwater Recovery Team, Behavioral Sciences Group, and the Criminal Analysis Service. They are joined in their investigational efforts by the National Center of Missing Persons, Canadian Center for Child Protection, and provincial and municipal police agencies from Nova Scotia and other parts of Canada. The investigation is being led by a tenacious, committed group of investigators who are gathering and assessing information daily to learn more about the circumstances of Lilly and Jack's disappearance so we can find them, says Sergeant Robert McCannon, officer in charge of the Major Crime and Behavioral Sciences. All scenarios are being considered, and we've engaged every tool and resource at our disposal. Hey, Queen Olive. Well, yeah, they're a good one. I do watch their stuff on Facebook. Sometimes I'm not real into Facebook, but this is from the RCMP website. See, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The Nova Scotia RCMP would like to thank the public for all the tips, information, and video footage that has been provided since Lilly and Jack went missing. With this support, investigators have collected hundreds of hours of video from the area surrounding Lansdowne Station, including footage taken along Gerlach Road between 12 p.m. on April 28th and 12 p.m. on May 2nd, which was the subject of a public appeal from the investigative team on May 28th. So they do have dash cam from that time period on that road between 12 p.m. on April 28th and 12 p.m. on May 2nd. They formally interviewed 54 people, which has included the administration of polygraph and some of the individuals interviewed. They received 488 tips, many of which have been assessed and followed up on. They extensively searched the property from which the children went missing, including every aspect of the home, ground, outbuildings, and nearby septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts. They've been granted numerous judicial authorizations to seize and examine materials and devices that may provide information useful to the investigation. They said, we are accessing, evaluating, and analyzing a significant volume of information from a variety of sources. We have a very coordinated and deliberate approach to make certain all information is meticulously scrutinized, prioritized, and actioned to ensure that nothing is missed. Said the investigative lead of Northwest Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit. We've committed to doing what is necessary to locate Lilly and Jack and advance the investigation, which may take longer than we all hoped. The information gathered thus far through the investigation, including the ground search and rescue efforts, has not identified new search areas. Anyone with information about Lilly and Jack is asked to call Northwest Nova RCMP at 902-896-5060. So that's directly from the RCMP website, and I showed y'all how to access that in a previous live. You just search it on Google, and it should pull it right up. We'll go back to the article. I don't believe any family members because it's all biased. You don't think so? Well, I know. I just try not to. I don't know. I don't want to cause any controversy. Y'all are funny. Okay. Forensic polygraph examinations are an investigative tool used by the RCMP in a variety of investigations. We are not able to share specifics of their use in regard to this investigation, Cindy Bayers, Director of Strategic Communications for RCMP Nova Scotia, told Newsweek. The children have not yet been found and search effort continues. We know the context. The RCMP said over 11 specialized units, including the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, Digital Forensic Services, Underwater Recovery Team, and Truth Verification Section, are working on the investigation. The police have collected hundreds of hours of videos. We read that. So Sergeant Rob McKinning said, oh, we read that. We read all that. What happens next? The investigation into Lilly and Jack disappearance remains ongoing. You can also submit tips anonymously to Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or 8477 or via the P3 Tips app. So, that's what I have on Jack and Lilly. I have a couple of things on Travis Decker as well. I got to pull one off of Discord. This one was interesting. There's items of interest, evidently, that they have located in the search for Travis Decker. Let me get some of my drink real quick so I can read it to you. I hate when it does that. Okay, hold on just a second. Hold on just a minute. Okay. Melanie's is a cutie. Aw. Okay. I hate the way it blinks like that. Okay, items of interest found in manhunt for Travis Decker as search continues in rugged Washington wilderness. Decker has been on the lam for 12 days and is charged with 3 counts of aggravated homicide after the bodies of his 3 daughters, Peyton 9, Evelyn 8, and Olivia 5, were found at a woodland campsite on June 2nd. Despite raising hopes of a swift end to the search last night, Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison said during the press conference Wednesday the search will continue with the help of Border Patrol as cops vow they will not give up on the search for Decker. He did, however, say tactics would change and warned that all it would take would be one mistake for him to get caught. Morrison said they had found items of interest in the Blewett Pass area that could belong to Decker and believes cops are still closing in on the killer dad, despite the change of tactics. He added that cops still have the canine and ground search units in the area. Sheriff Morrison said Decker is effectively surrounded thanks to additional police units from neighboring counties, but warned he is still considered armed and dangerous. He said he still hopes Decker will turn himself in, but said that when he is caught, he will be treated with the same respect as any other suspect. There is a picture of Travis Decker, and there's a picture of the girls. That is the Ingalls Creek trailhead Former soldier Decker has spent the past 2 weeks hiding out in the Wenatchee Mountains, a rugged stretch of peaks that stretches for 50 miles across central Washington state. Exclusive Daily Mail photos show exactly how challenging the search has been, with thick forest and soaring peaks up to 9,500 feet dominating the area. Complicating the search is the fact that Decker, a former soldier, knows the area intimately and has had ample experience of living rough, once spending 2 months living off grid in the backwoods. Photos released by the Chelan County Sheriff's Office show searchers battling through the mountainous terrain, with cops pictured searching the snowy flanks of Mount Stewart and being choppered to mountain meadows hundreds of feet above the valley floor. Until Monday, Decker had not been seen since vanishing with the 3 children following a scheduled custody visit on May 30th. So if they're saying until Monday, Decker had not been seen, but he was seen Monday, that tells me that they verified that it was him that was seen on Monday, which is interesting. What thoughts were running through those poor kids' head when their dad did what he did? I don't know. I can't imagine. Even if he makes it to Canada, that's not a get out of jail card for him. Canada routinely extradites criminals back to the U.S. Yep. So I'm assuming that guarantees that he was seen Monday, because it says until Monday, Decker had not been seen since vanishing with the 3 children following a scheduled custody visit on May 30th. Their mother, Whitney, 35, called the cops after he failed to return with the girls and could not be reached by phone. 3 days later, the children were found suffocated at the remote Rock Island campground near Leavenworth with plastic bags over their heads bound with zip ties. Police said Decker's 2000 GMC truck was also found at the scene and had 2 bloody handprints on the back tailgate. This looks like the campsite where it was found.
Can you hear?
Nope. Sure can't. Okay, we want volume. Father, oh my goodness. It says the father, Travis Decker, is wanted for the homicide of his 3 girls. That's the campsite, evidently. The bodies were found at the campsite. The father fled the crime scene near Rock Island Campground. A manhunt is underway for Travis Decker in Washington's wilderness. That's pretty. I was going to try to see if we could go back and look at the campsite again, but I don't reckon it's going to let me. I'll try to open it up again and look at the campsite. That's inhumanity, yeah. I know, it's really sad what she's been going through. Okay. There's him speaking about that. Oh my gosh. There is the sheriff at the presser. Why does it keep doing that? I hate it when it does that. Like, you guys want us to click on your ads and things like that, but you don't make it, you make it jump and shit. Like, it's ridiculous. There it goes again. Chelan County Sheriff's Office is helping orchestrate the search for Decker. That's where they're getting dropped off to search. It says, shortly after a no-bail arrest warrant was issued for Decker, charging him with 3 counts of first-degree homicide and 3 counts of kidnapping. On Monday, cops revealed they were finally closing in on the alleged homicider, saying in a statement that a tip from a hiker had led to a breakthrough. Our office recently received a tip from a hiking party who stated they spotted a lone hiker in the Enchantments area who appeared to be ill-prepared for the trail and weather conditions and appeared to be avoiding others, the statement said. Tracking teams immediately acted upon the information and spotted a lone off-trail hiker from a helicopter near Kolchuk Lake who ran from sight as the helicopter passed. An alert was later issued to residents of the Ingalls Creek and Valley High communities, warning them to lock up their homes and vehicles and be on the lookout for Decker. Residents and visitors urged to secure homes and vehicles, remain vigilant, and report any suspicious activity to 911, an alert said. A heightened law enforcement presence will be present as a precautionary measure. There's more searchers. Look at that picture. Why do you keep doing that? This is some Sonomish SWAT and air support. Look at how pretty. I'd like to go there too. The Trads are next level crooks, more like the mafia than a street gang. Oh, the Triad, yeah. Hey, Joy. Oh, yeah. Everybody has drooled over the sheriff. I hope they find him and get him the mental health he clearly needs. And then he faces courts for what he did. That is the best option for all involved. I agree. Hey, Cracker. Good to see you. That's them searching the mountaintop. There's the video of him at the door cam.
Awesome. Cool.
I have to mute the music. A national manhunt is underway for Travis. I can't believe that they're all deceased now. Poor babies. Authorities have vowed to locate Decker, saying he will be brought to justice. All right, that's about all that was. There she is with them. That's the trailhead. Here's the campsite again. It's going to do an ad. All right. I'm not going to play the music again, but you can see the campsite. I can't believe they've opened it up where people can see it again. Where the girls were found. That's so sad and scary to see the actual campsite where they were found. That was Travis Decker, the one they're looking for. Crazy. Okay. Okay. So, the alert was lifted Wednesday morning at 11:30 while the police presence in the area was noticeably diminished when the Daily Mail visited the same day. A plane that cops had been using to scour the area has also departed, traveling to an airport in state capital Olympia, a 3-hour flight away. The bearded dad of 3 is a former soldier who joined the Army in 2013. He served in Afghanistan before being transferred to the Washington National Guard in 2021. He was a full-time member of the Guard until 2023 or 24 when he switched to part-time. Decker stopped attending mandatory monthly drills a little over a year ago, and the Guard was in the process of a disciplinary discharge. According to the ex-wife, Whitney, he has been suffering from mental health issues in recent years and was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Went all the way back up. Still, Whitney told police she didn't believe Decker was dangerous and said that he loved his daughters. She said the girls had a good relationship with Decker, who enjoyed their time with him, and noted that he had never failed to return the girls before, according to a police affidavit. Whitney added that when Decker went to pick the girls up for the visit on Friday, he was quieter than usual, which was out of character for him. He also had allegedly been talking about getting rid of his dog due to housing and financial struggles. Speaking to the Daily Mail in an interview published earlier today, Decker's older brother Thomas said that the alleged killer is not the man he knew and saw just a week before the homicides. The guy on the wanted poster for murdering my 3 nieces is not the brother I know, said Thomas. I can't even comprehend what's going on. I am in complete shock that he would do something like this. He loves his daughters, at least I thought he did, and Whitney is devastated beyond belief. Wow, I never heard that about his brother. So his brother, who saw him a week before, said the guy on the wanted poster for the homicide of my 3 nieces is not the brother I know. I'm in complete shock that he would do something like this. He loves his daughters, at least I thought he did, and Whitney is devastated beyond belief. That's crazy. And interesting. I didn't know his brother had spoken to the Mail. This article talks about his mental decline right before everything happened and other people who had noticed it. And then I'm going to send myself something that Abellis had sent me in Discord. Let me grab that real quick. So I have it. Share Gmail to me. Okay. So this article says what we know about Travis Decker's mental decline before his daughters were found slain in the woods. Travis Decker is accused by police of killing his 3 daughters, Peyton Decker 9, Olivia Decker 8, and Evelyn Decker 8, and Olivia Decker 5. Before the girls were found deceased on June 2nd, the Army veteran was experiencing mental health struggles as outlined in court documents. Travis is the subject of an ongoing manhunt. As the search for Travis Decker continues, more details are coming to light about the former military man's declining mental health before his 3 daughters were found deceased. Decker, 32, is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and kidnapping in connection with the deaths of Peyton Decker, Evelyn, and Olivia, all of who were found deceased at a remote campground in Chelan County on June 2nd. Investigators made the grim discovery after locating Decker's abandoned white pickup truck. He was not at the scene and has been the subject of an ongoing manhunt. Through June 10th, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office said they had tracked the subject believed to be Decker to the Blewett Pass area near Highway 97 in Washington State. The sisters, who died by suffocation, hadn't been seen since heading off with their father for a planned visitation on May 30th. After the girls were reported missing, the Washington State Patrol issued an endangered missing person alert for the sisters. According to the probable cause affidavit obtained by People, the girls' mother, Whitney Decker, reported them missing to the Wenatchee police after Travis did not bring the girls back that night as part of a parenting plan the formerly married couple had in place. She also said he didn't answer phone calls. They need to look up in the branches. I think he could be hiding. I think he could go up in the trees and be looking down on them. I think that is entirely possible. Hey, Blue Jay. Good to see you. The plan limits Travis's visitation to 8 hours every other weekend and 3 hours on Fridays, per the parenting order filed in the Chelan County Court in September 2024, which was also obtained by People. The filing also specifies no overnight visits and orders that the visits occur only in the Wenatchee Valley. According to the related court filing, Whitney claimed that Decker had neglected his parental duties toward the child and has a long-term emotional or physical problem that gets in the way of his ability to parent. Whitney said she was concerned for the girls because this was a first for Travis, whom she told investigators was experiencing mental health issues and was homeless, often living in hotels or campgrounds, per the probable cause affidavit. The affidavit also outlines Travis's behavior in the moments leading up to the homicides. According to the affidavit, Whitney told authorities that Travis had recently been cited for driving without insurance. Authorities also noted that Travis was involved in a car crash on May 27th, which he was handed down traffic infractions after a police investigation. Travis left the scene of a separate crash on May 4th. There was no damage to the other vehicle, and the other driver declined to follow up from police, per the affidavit. Authorities also said in the affidavit that on June 2nd, the day the girls' bodies were found, Travis failed to show up for work, and his boss noted some recent mental health concerns. So, after he committed the homicide, he didn't show up for work, and his boss told somebody that he indeed has been having some mental health issues going on at work as well. So, everybody saw the issues with Travis. But Whitney, thinking about how involved in the girl's life he is and that they're his daughters, that he would never hurt them, trusted him completely. I mean, this was her husband. She trusted him with her life and their children's lives. Whitney's attorney told People on June 6 that Travis's mental health struggles put a strain on his and Whitney's 7-year marriage, which ended in 2022, but noted that he was a good co-parent. While speaking to investigators about her relationship with Travis, Whitney denied any domestic violence, but did mention moments of power or control he used, per the affidavit. She provided the examples of randomly leaving or waking her up by screaming at her in the middle of the night. She also said near the end of the marriage, he was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder that she believes he currently does not take medication for. Under the parenting plan, Travis was supposed to seek mental health treatment and anger management counseling, but had not. According to the filing, Travis was also ordered to have a full psychiatric evaluation by a licensed psychiatrist to include any potential diagnoses. The filing stated that if Decker didn't follow through with these things, the mother would have the choice to further limit visitation. Whitney, so strong and said repeatedly to law enforcement, "The thing I want most out of this situation is for this to be fixed, the Amber Alert system and the mental health resources for veterans," Cozart previously told People. While the attorney believes Travis died by unaliving, everybody cares that Travis is found for peace of mind, if nothing else. Authorities are asking anyone who has seen Travis to call 911 immediately. People can also call the CCSO tip line at 509-667-6845 or submit information to the tip line online. If you or someone you know needs mental health help, text the word STRENGTH, STRENGTH, to the crisis text line at 741-741 to be connected to a certified crisis counselor. He's a narcissist, so she didn't see that. I've heard that he was a narcissist. Yeah, Anders. Joe, you offer an interesting perspective. Joe says, I blame the mom. The guy had busted into the house more than once, supposedly. That is criminal behavior. So if we put ourselves into their, if you try to think about maybe your significant other or a relationship you've had in the past, right? And then you add children with that person, and you want nothing more for the health of the children, for them to have both parents in their life. Like, you can't get along with this person, okay, but that is their father or that is their mother. So she's going to be in their life. He's going to be in their life. The children adore this person. and love them, and that is half of them. That is their DNA. Those children are his DNA. Yeah, we fought, but maybe he caught me talking to somebody online. Or, yeah, we fought, but maybe I did look at somebody a certain way. I don't know. Or regardless, it's hard for him to trust people because he was cheated on in the past. Whatever the reason may be, you don't ever think like the things that are going on between the two of you have a damn thing to do with the kids. Like, yeah, we're fighting. We can't get along because I cheated, he cheated, or he thinks I'm going to cheat. I think he's going to cheat. We can't agree on finances. We can't agree on how to do things. But he loves those children, and those children love him. If she had called the cops about the break-ins, he would not have been seeing the kids. But again, I mean, if she's like trying to give him grace because his mental health is iffy, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily would take the children away just because you're fighting and upset with me. Maybe we should have, because maybe the girls would be alive if that had happened, but I don't know. I don't see it that way for whatever reason. I don't think it should pertain to the children necessarily. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Hold on just a minute. I'm trying to pull up this last article. Okay. Like, just because you're fighting with me, breaking in my house, we're in arguments left, right, and center, and we can't seem to get along, but you're there for the children at every single event, every single thing. I don't know that I would necessarily keep the children from him either. Oh, thank you, Veronica, for hitting the thumbs up. She expressed her concerns. No one listened. They needed to be held accountable as well. I do agree with that. Like, I think the police should have started looking the very moment that she come in there freaking out. But I think they were honestly deceased by then. Yeah, no relationship is perfect, right? All right, so this says community calls for change amid Washington manhunt for triple murder suspect Travis Decker. Let's watch the video.
There's power in the word no.
Yes, there is.
Obligation to enroll.
Today marks week 2 since Whitney Decker first reported her 3 daughters were missing. Days later, they were tragically found dead. And their father, Travis Decker, who had picked them up for a visitation, has since vanished.
Since then, crews have been working around the clock to find Decker and bring him to justice. Fox 13's Shira Matsuzawa reports from Clay Elum, where the search for Decker is not slowing down.
This is just one of the areas part of that search for Decker, but as that search continues, the community is also searching for answers and calling for change.
Protecting our children. We are here because every child deserves to be safe, and we know that change begins when we come together, encourage, and care.
On Friday, lawmakers, community members, and advocates gathered in Seattle, holding a moment of silence for Peyton, Olivia, and Evelyn.
Kathleen, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Yeah, it does take like a year, and they did have a parenting order in place. So she did have to abide by that legally, and she did already have it changed. But he was there for like all of their events, all of their games, all of their things. Like, you never would have thought that he would have done. I mean, I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams could have seen this coming.
And calling for stronger child safety laws and changes in how Amber Alerts are issued.
All little girls should be alive. They should be growing, learning, laughing, and dreaming. Instead, we're left with an unspeakable sorrow and a burning question. How did our system fail to protect children?
When we see these type of things go down, we say, what did we miss?
Children must have a voice.
because the worst possible outcomes where our children lose their lives is not an outcome that we can accept.
Kathy Sherlock flew in from Pennsylvania. Her 7-year-old daughter, Kaden, was murdered by her father during a court-ordered unsupervised parenting visit 7 years ago.
Oh my God.
This has changed my life forever. Angry is an understatement of the system that failed Kaden and me.
Despite her efforts, an Amber Alert was not issued in her daughter's case. She's since created Kaden's Law, a federal act to keep children safe from family violence. It's now in 10 states, but not Washington.
Maybe if I was here to show up to the Olympia State Capitol, that maybe these little girls would be here. My heart is broken for the Decker family. I send my love to Whitney and everyone involved.
Hey, Scratch the Paint, it's good to see you. And Donna, good to see you.
Mom, I know what it's like to lose a child this way. I don't want any other mother to have to feel this suffering again.
Friday's call for change comes as the manhunt for Decker is now in its second week. Near the Mineral Springs campground on Highway 97, wanted posters can be seen as cars pass by. The Kittitas County Sheriff's Office urging people headed into the wilderness in and around the Teanaway Valley and Bluewood Pass this weekend to be vigilant.
Hey, let me ride that donkey. Oh my God. Y'all kill me with them damn names. Let me ride that donkey said, in my opinion, if the dad was very much a danger, the judge should have been accountable for his decision. This should have been supervised visitation only either at CPS office or somewhere safe. I agree with that. I think the mother, I don't know. I think the mother did change it to where, I know she changed it to where it's only the weekends, but I don't know if it was suggested he only have supervised visits or not. And if she's the one who pushed for him to be able to see the kids overnight, and he disagreed with that order to the extent that he wouldn't even sign it in court. He was behind on child support. There was a lot of mental instability going on, but again, I don't think she did anything wrong necessarily. Maybe it should have been supervised. Looking back on it now, we can say that. But I think that she just wanted him to continue to be part of their life and not put any restrictions on it as much as she could keep from happening. I mean, again, you don't ever think that a man will kill his own offspring, his own children. Thank you for being here, though. I mean, it would have been better if CPS had been involved. Sounds like PTSD as well as other diagnoses combine these two. Yeah, I agree with that, too. Hindsight is 20/20. Lorianne, I'm so sorry about what happened to you, and I'm glad that you are okay. I grew up in a violent home with stepdad, and my mom never left him and never was violent with us, but with my mom, yes, sadly. I'm so sorry. That's hard to deal with. I'm glad that you're okay. I'm sorry. That's horrible.
An alert to anything unusual.
It's definitely on a lot of people's mind.
At the Red Arrow Drive-In, they too have flyers about Decker by the counter and at the drive-thru.
To make sure that people are seeing it, and even if they don't pay attention to it, just to have that in the back of their mind, I think is very helpful for the process.
A public memorial service for the 3 girls will be held on Friday, June 20th at Rocky Reach Park. In the meantime, investigators say if you see Decker, call 911. In Cle Elum, Shira Matsuzawa, Fox 13 News.
It says Seattle, Friday marks 2 weeks since Whitney Decker first reported her 3 daughters were missing after they were with their dad, Travis Decker. Just days later, investigators...
Can you hear it?
Nope. Found them deceased. Since then, crews have been working around the clock to find Decker and bring him to justice. As the search continues, the community is also searching for answers, calling for change. Quote, we are here because every child deserves to be safe, and we know that change begins when we come together in courage and care, unquote. Tamara Emerson, A4 Safety Alliance said. Lawmakers, community members, and advocates gathered in Seattle to hold a moment of silence for Peyton, Olivia, and Evelyn and called for stronger child safety laws and changes in how Amber Alerts are issued. What they're saying, quote, all little girls should be alive. They should be growing, learning, laughing. Instead, we are left with an unspeakable sorrow and a burning question. How did our system fail to protect children, unquote, one speaker said. When we see things like this go down, we say, what did we miss? Another speaker shared. Children must have a voice because the worst possible outcome where our children lose their lives is not an outcome we can accept, a speaker said on Friday. Kathy Sherlock flew in from Pennsylvania. Her 7-year-old daughter, Kaden, was murdered by her father during a court-ordered, unsupervised parenting visit 7 years ago. This has changed my life forever. Anger is an understatement for the system that failed Kaden and me, Sherlock said. Despite her efforts, an Amber Alert was not issued in her daughter's case. She since created Kaden's Law, which passed federally in 2022. It's now in 10 states, but not Washington. Maybe if I was here to show up to the Olympia State Capitol, maybe these girls would be here, unquote, Sherlock said. My heart is broken for the Decker family. I send my love to Whitney and everyone involved. I know what it's like to lose a child, and I don't want any other mother to suffer this again, Sherlock said. Friday's call for change comes as the manhunt for Decker is now in its second week. Near the Mineral Springs campground on Highway 97, wanted posters can be seen as cars pass by. Is that like actual posters in the area, or did they put them in that picture? Like, did they actually post that? Is that actually like on the side of that mountain? It says Travis Decker search underway in Chelan County. I think they set them pictures on top of that picture, but that's a bad place to put that in the article. Hey, Little Red. Cracker Jack said the poor mom will never get over this. Clearly, Dad was a lot more unwell than she realized. A mental health assessment to assess Dad would have kept the children safer. The children always comes first. Right, and they had ordered that, and it had not been completed yet. The problem with growing up in the middle of violence, I myself lived in a relationship of violence because of my own experience. I myself was blinded against violence and abuse. I was groomed from the age of 13 and had my first child at 19 with him. And it is like you grow up seeing things, and I heard this thing, like when you grow up like that, like girls, when they find a man, they find a person that resembles the father figures in their lives growing up. Not in a sick type of way, but like the same type of personality type kinda. Is what I heard a long time ago, and I found it to be true. My dad was alcoholic and abused substances, and I myself looked for those type of people unknowingly for a very long time and got lost on the way. And I learned not to do it, but it happens a lot, unfortunately. Tam says, what gets me about the Amber Alert, it also says it has to be a serious danger. More or less, how do they know if they don't know where they are, if they are in danger to activate it? Make this make sense. That's a good point. It's hard to know if they're in danger if you don't know where they're at. If that were my daughter or sister, I'd say, you come live with me and we'll deal with him in court. I'm glad that you would be there for them like that. That's good. He'd have zero access to the kids if he breaks down doors. I mean, another good point. Hey, Marta. You go with what you know, yeah. The Catayas County Sheriff's Office urges people headed into the wilderness in and around the Tenaway Valley and Blewett Pass this weekend to be vigilant and alert anything unusual. It's definitely on people's mind, Austin Still, assistant manager at the Red Arrow Drive-In, said. The restaurant also has flyers about Decker by the counter and the drive-thru. To make sure people are seeing it, even if they don't pay attention to it, just to have it in the back of their mind, I think is very helpful for the process, Still said. A public memorial service honoring the 3 girls will be held on Friday, June 20th at Rocky Reach Park at 7 p.m. In the meantime, investigators have said if you see Decker, call 911. Scary. Let's ride the donkey. Do you come from the Karama community by chance? All right, I have another story that it's not really enough to do like a whole live on, but I wanted to share with y'all. Let me find it. There it is. This is going to be triggering. It's a very sad story. I was going to do a lab on it, but it wasn't really enough. I don't have enough information, and I don't know that I can get enough to do a whole lab on it. This is going to be the story of Amari, an 8-year-old girl who was found deceased, buried in a shallow grave recently. Okay, sweetheart, Teresa, have a good day. I don't know how. I'll get with a bad girl and see if she's okay, and I will let you know, Veronica. I have to check Discord. Charlize Theron's mom shot her dad dead because he was breaking her door down because she was aware of the situation. I mean, another good point. I'm glad that you would be so protective, but again, hindsight is like 20/20. I don't know. I can see wanting him to have the opportunity to be in their lives, especially considering how attentive he was to them, and also trying to be hyper vigilant about him breaking down doors and the mental thing. The kids in the video look so happy with their dad. What changed? Or did he have flashbacks of his childhood? I wonder if they ever had any kind of sign, and was mom forced to letting him take the kids. I know it was a custody order that he got to see the kids. She had just pulled it back because they hurt themselves at the armory, and he had them at the armory sleeping and staying around other grown men. So she pulled back visitation. He was upset about it and wouldn't sign the visitation order. He was upset about the divorce and didn't want it. He had to pay child support, and his mental health started declining. I think from the time of the divorce, he got into 2 auto accidents, couldn't pay insurance, couldn't pay child support, was losing his job, was literally homeless, and then on top of that, you got her pulling back visitation of the girls because he's placing them in environments that aren't safe. He's not going to get the mental health he needs, and his whole life is like at rock bottom at the point he does everything. See, that's what I meant. You're from the dark side. I watch those channels too. That's why your name got me. That's what I meant. Are you from the Krama community? I call it the Krama community, but it's probably not. That's hilarious. I love your name. So if he's threatening her, she needs to be away from the house with the kids, not sharing them with her. It's hard. Because, again, I could see her wanting not to take everything away from him, but still wanting him to see her. Little Red, what? Don't block me. I hope not. He didn't have a secure place for them to be at, right? Right. He was, I do watch them. I'm on the dark side, not the other side, the alleged dark side, because I'm in Jay's and Clues and Granny's chat from time to time. Oh my God, your name. Okay. He was homeless. And he had anger management issues. He wouldn't do that, what the court said. I just watched a child against the girlfriend, unsure if the mother was convicted or tried yet. Yeah, let me play this. This case is really interesting and sad.
On Prime Crime.
We have an 8-year-old child that has autism that we're trying to find that has been missing for several hours, and we're concerned about her. And it's getting very cold. And it's only going to get colder tonight.
When a little girl disappears, police leave no stone unturned.
Anytime a missing child report goes off, all hands on deck. Everybody was struggling to find her.
The police determined that the story that led up to her being missing began to unravel, and they suspected foul play.
As hours stretch into days, the case grows even more grim.
At that point, our investigation transitioned from a missing person case to indeed a homicide case.
So we're going to watch Prime Crime with Jesse Weber. And CP, the child's welfare, comes above anyone else in the relationship. They absolutely should have listened to mom and ensured mental health assessment was done to ensure child's welfare. They certainly felt. I agree with that. Yeah, that big old donkey and them big old legs with the what the fuck is it? I forget. Cellulitis. That big old donkey and his cellulitis legs. Oh shit. They should have made sure he was settled in with a stable place and supervised visits and proof he was getting help with mental health. They failed. I agree with that. Hit the like button. Yes, thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. In my opinion, he should have had security clearance before he took the kids. Yeah, I think he should have had the mental health assessment and everything. I definitely agree with that. Those are signs something's wrong with him. Yeah. I'm going to mute this real quick.
Everybody, I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime, where we break down some of the most compelling and memorable true crime cases from across the country. We have an 8-year-old girl who's in danger. She's been missing for 2 days by the time police are called, and the people you'd expect to help the most seem to have a different agenda.
So on November 21st, 2021, police received a phone call coming out of Georgia about a missing 8-year-old girl. The 911 call was made by Brittany Hall, the girl's mother.
Now, if this goes away, I will be right back. I'll have to turn it off. I don't think it will, but like if I disappear for a minute, I'll be right back. Like Seth hunting Katie, degrading her reputation and his son's reputation. Yeah, I try not to talk about that too much, but yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. Yeah. I'm gonna be very careful about what I say with that, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Gwinnett County, Georgia, just a few miles outside of Atlanta. Little Nicole Amari Hall has reportedly disappeared from the extended stay hotel where she's been living with her blended family.
So Brittany Hall was the mother of the 3 children who lived in the motel, the mother of Amari Hall, and also of Amari Hall's younger siblings, a 6-year-old sister and a 5-year-old brother. Brittany Hall was living in that motel with the children and her girlfriend, Celeste Owens.
Celeste was Brittany's partner. They had known each other for several years, eventually moved in together in the summer of 2021.
Nicole Amari Hall, she was autistic. She used to like to go by the name Amari rather than Nicole. So the 911 call came in on November 21st of 2021, and police arrived. They obviously started their investigation. Things started looking suspicious.
I'm going to do a poll real quick because I have some questions that I want to ask y'all real quick, and I'm going to make sure, yeah, I got it up on my phone. I do want to ask y'all a question, so make sure you participate in the poll.
Pretty early on.
So the children in this case were living in quite a high level of isolation. They were living in this extended stay hotel and being homeschooled. So what does that mean? That means first and foremost, no contact with other children for all intents and purposes. There are no neighbors, so to speak.
The living situation raises a red flag for police, who immediately bring Celeste Owens and Brittany Hall in for questioning. They begin by asking what happened on November 20th, the last day Amari was said to be in the hotel room. Celeste sometimes refers to her as Maury.
We're going to start with Saturday. From the moment you woke up, I want to know everything you did, all the way until the moment you
Saturday, I
realized you
woke
were
up, I went to the store.
Okay, what time was that?
Saturday, I woke up, went to the store. It had to be around 11. Couldn't have been after 12 because I don't like shopping that early. Then I came back.
What happens right after that?
Right after that, I leave.
Okay, you leave. Where'd you go?
I went with my sister back to my grandma's house.
So you and your sister go to grandma's house. So when you got back from grandma's house, you said that was 5 p.m.?
No, 8 a.m.
The story wasn't adding up because she had told the police that she was with her sister, and the police interviewed the sister and found out, no, that was incorrect. She was not.
So Tammy says, sad, no interaction, no extracurricular activities, living like little prisoners. Right. Exactly. That's the issue. That's a big thing. To have them in a hotel room in complete isolation, away from anybody and everybody, supposedly homeschooling them. There's no outside interaction. There's nobody to see them or know what's going on. And it provides a real question of safety and well-being for the children.
Not with me, so she had false statements.
Now, when you get back around 4 or 5, did you notice that the kids were in their bed? Or?
I didn't really look, because my corner, I went straight to my corner was on the right side. As soon as you open the door, my
So you just wanted to go to bed. You weren't really like checking to see if they were there or not. You just assumed they were.
Yeah.
And was Brittany was home when you did that? When you got in? Okay. And where was Brittany? Was she in bed or somewhere else?
She was in bed. She was
in bed. Okay. And that's around 4 or 5. And then what?
I wanted to look at the picture of the hotel real quick. Hold on.
I didn't really look, because my corner, I went straight to my corner was on the right side. As soon as you open the door,
So you just wanted to go to bed. You weren't really like.
So there's bags and it's disarray everywhere. I mean, I get that they're living in there, but like there's laundry detergent on the shelf that looks like it's open and there's toddlers running around. Smart, Strong. It's not a book bag they bought. It was probably gifted to her by an organization, and there's just bags everywhere. Disorder.
Checking to see if they were there or not. You just assumed they were. Yeah. And was Brittany was home when you did that? When you got in? Okay. And where was Brittany? Was she in bed or somewhere else?
She was in bed. She was in
bed. Okay. And that's around 4 or 5. And then what happens after that?
That's when I was asleep, and that's when Brittany woke me up and said, "Babe, you know, we gotta find it. We gotta." And I'm like, "What happened? What's going on?" And this, I think, more went away. And then that's when she went outside and started looking.
Okay. And what time was that when she woke you up?
Right before she called 911. She woke me up as soon as she was dialing 911. She woke me up.
While detectives question Celeste, other officers search for Amari. They distribute a poster that describes her as 4'10", wearing a Tweety Bird jacket and blue and white pajamas.
So they're saying that she's missing. This one girl has been asleep, and then her girl wakes her up and says, "I can't find her," and calling 911. You live in a shelter with your two youngest. It wasn't easy, especially living in a room. I've lived there, but I did not have my children at the time. It's when I was lost and on substances and things, and I've been at the shelter too. I've been homeless, and there were children there in the women's shelter, and they appeared to be safe, which was good. And I'm glad that that option is available, especially, you know, if you have children and you have nowhere to go, it helps you get on your feet and things. I'm sorry that you're going through that right now, but it will get better, and I'm glad that you have somewhere to stay. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. Okay. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I'm glad the resource is there for people who need it, but then you have situations like this that make me question it. The mom, other half girlfriend lived in the hotel with them. Yes. Yeah, many families have no other place to go. Yeah. I think if you have no other place to go, it's good, but sometimes people, I guess it would all depend on the person at the end of the day. Like, what are the intentions of the people living in the room? Right. It's the parents' mentality. Exactly, Lorraine. Yeah. I think that's where I'm at with it too. Oh, I'm trying to play. There we go.
Of course, anytime a missing child report goes off, all hands on deck. Everybody was struggling to find her.
There was door-to-door canvassing, trying to maybe see if she had wandered off into a neighbor's home or a neighbor's in the motel, like just a neighbor's room in there, or maybe she was just on another floor. She was autistic, and obviously those were issues that the police had in mind when trying to find her.
So she wakes you up, she calls 911 as she's waking you up, you said. And then she goes outside and she went and checked the whole parking lot.
Check the camera, I guarantee.
Okay, so that was one thing
I'm glad that your life has changed, and I hope it's getting better. Let's ride the donkey. People agreeing. I have a hard time because I think it should be allowed very, very short term. Like if you're waiting for an apartment or a rental home to be ready, maybe there was a fire, etc. Yeah. I think it depends on, like Lorraine said, the mentality. Hey, Cara. I don't think it's the location of the living apartment. It's the people who aren't fit to parent. Exactly. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you two as well, Cindy, on this.
I wanted to touch on too. So we've checked several cameras. There's a camera for the hotel. There's the car wash across the street. There's hibachi. There's another camera. We've checked all those cameras. We have people checking those cameras right now. They never saw her walking around that hotel.
Really? This morning?
Mm-hmm. So is there any reason why that's not adding up?
I don't know.
They came out and they poured over the hotel complex, neighboring businesses. They tracked down surveillance footage from the motel and from businesses across the street and on the same side, but there was no surveillance video played of Amari running out of the hotel, because she didn't, or of Ms. Hall searching for her, because that never occurred.
No, we didn't see her walking.
No, it's not.
We didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
So they didn't even go and search for her and are lying to the police at this point.
So that didn't happen. Okay, we know that didn't happen. There's no dispute about it because the video evidence shows that that did not happen.
The police started to determine that the story that led up to her being missing began to unravel.
Cara, this is about Amari, a little girl that was found in a shallow grave, who was living with her parents in a hotel room. Her mother and her mother's girlfriend in a hotel room. Because I read everything on Travis and on Jack and Lily I had, so we were just kind of watching this until it's over for today, because I didn't want to do a whole live about it, but...
And they suspected foul play.
Police try to fill in the missing pieces by talking to Amari's two younger siblings, sister Zaire and brother Jakari.
The statements the children made to the police when they arrived at the scene were somewhat disturbing.
The middle child gave more of a little comprehensive statement about seeing her sister go away. She misbehaved and went away, and she wasn't going to be coming back.
Is that a hospital that bad kids go to, and a man put a hole in the dark room?
Oh wow, that sounds kind of scary. When was she at that hospital?
The other night.
The other night?
Yes.
Okay, so would you say it was like 2 nights ago? Or 3 nights ago?
2 nights ago.
So the little sister explained to police that Celeste had told her that Amari had to go to the bad kids hospital, which is really just a terrible phrase to say to a child. It feels almost like she had used that phrase maybe more than once, or maybe used it kind of as a veiled threat.
I agree with that statement completely. I think that she definitely said, if you don't stop this, you're going to go to the bad kids hospital. I really do think that she used it as a threat and a form of discipline or punishment, or to strike fear in them about going somewhere to the bad kids hospital.
To the child.
How did the kids know you? Like, did they call you Celeste? Did they call you mom number 2? Like, what? They call you dad? Okay. Is there any reason why Zaire would say dad took her sister to the Batgirl hospital?
Tammy, no, there was no sight of her leaving the motel. Cracker, I'm about to check right now. Yeah, children don't lie because they don't have a reason to. If you want the truth, ask a child. Yeah. Oh, they say bad kids hospital. Crap. Of course, it was used many, many times. Yep.
To the Batgirl hospital. Oh, she's saying that because when Maury would act out, I say, Maury, listen, if you can't listen to us, you're gonna go, can't say defects, can't say none of that stuff. I said, Maury, if you can't play with your sisters or you can't negotiate, you're gonna go to this place. And normally when we say that, Maury will act right for at least 3 hours.
Nicole Amari Hall. She was, at the very least, on the autism spectrum. Quite often, children with this disorder have been misinterpreted as being difficult, stubborn, and so forth. Then you have 2 younger children who, just by virtue of them being younger, are likely to be a handful who are in the mix here. Living in a hotel, not the best environment to raise a child with challenges. So this was just an environment that was somewhat of a powder keg psychologically, I would say.
And it appears the children may have endured severe suffering as a result of the fallout.
Pretty early on, the police realized The other children looked abused, maybe malnourished. The other 2 children had some bruises on them.
Is there any reason why there's bruises on the children?
Don't know.
Do you know about the bruises that are on Soraya? When's the last time she got a licking?
Was I there? I couldn't tell you.
She got bruises on her back, her eye, her face. I mean, that's not a slap on the wrist.
Do you know how those were caused?
I really don't.
With every hour Nicole Amari Hall is missing, the chances of finding her alive continue to fade. So detectives press Owens harder to tell them anything she knows about the girl's whereabouts.
When I have a 6-year-old that tells me that dad, which is you, took her and she's not coming back, and that raises some concerns, and that's something I have to explore.
Okay.
So with that being said, again, do you know where Nicole is?
No, I don't.
No. Did you take Nicole from the home?
I did not take Nicole.
Did anything happen to Nicole within the last 24 hours that you're aware of that caused her any type of injury?
No.
Cracker, I just saw it. My only concern is that it comes from a post on Facebook, and there's been a lot of that going on in this case that I can't validate, but I'll read it to you guys real quick. There's 2 comments on Facebook as far as Daniel and Malaya Brooks with Jack and Lily Sullivan. And this person said on Facebook, I don't have to read anything. I'm family. He's not allowed to even see Meadow with supervision. Ask yourself, why is that? You are saying her, but she was removed from the home. He was abusive. He's putting himself out there, and that usually he's the one who did it. She can't go. They're not allowed around each other, and he didn't pass the polygraph. I can't validate. I hear that, and I hear what you're saying. And apparently Daniel went missing for 3 hours, apparently looking for the children before he returned, and the call was made to report missing children. That's an explanation for the reason and delay in the call making. My only issue, it's interesting, but I can't validate it. He was the one that was supposed to be watching them that morning, though.
Is Nicole alive that you're aware of?
That I'm aware of, yes.
Is she dead that you're aware of?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that she would not be okay?
Hey, Jersey.
Any kid that's wondering out, I assume the worst.
Okay. Do you know anything about her whereabouts?
No, except for the same thing we've been saying 20 times today. It's just the same thing. And if I'm coming off angry, it's because it's just a lot going on.
I know it's a lot going on.
I just have a couple more questions, and that's all I got for you.
What questions, man?
As a last-ditch effort, detectives use Amari's sister's statement to try to pry information from Owens.
The little girl said that you were involved, so we need to address that. We need to see if there was any type of involvement. Okay, why would she say that she's afraid of you? Why would she say that you have a gun and that you would threaten her? Why would she say that you took Nicole?
So this girl has a firearm and is threatening the other siblings, the smaller ones? Like, what are y'all even doing in there? That is insane. Why are you threatening children with firearms?
I don't know why she said that. You would have to.
So you're just saying she's just making it up?
No, I'm not making it up. But they don't like when I get mad. But I don't get mad to the point where it's like threats and
has it ever
stuff
gotten
like
physical?
that. No. And it's like kids also lie as well.
Oh,
so it's like I'm not going to believe everything that flies out of kids' mouth.
Meanwhile, police continue their search for Amari, still hoping to find her alive.
Police pulled out all the stops. There were helicopters, there were canines that were around trying to sniff for her body or her scent.
November 22nd, the Gwinnett County Police Chief has a devastating update to the case.
We compared statements that we had gotten from Brittany Hall and also her partner, Celeste Owen. We compared those statements with evidence that we gathered and recognized that those statements were indeed false. At that point, our investigation transitioned from a missing person case to indeed a homicide case.
Celeste was arrested
So at this point, they know it's a homicide. She gets arrested
first, and it was, I think, the 22nd, and Brittany Hall was allowed to go home, but she was arrested the very next day when they called her back in.
So how long am I being detained?
Well, you gotta go over to the jail.
You're gonna take me to jail?
I told you you're being charged with false statements. So I said you're not free to leave.
Celeste Owens and Brittany Hall, after they were arrested, were not released on their own recognizance. They did not have bail set. They were held. They were held in jail pending the trial.
I'm not sure what the background is or the girlfriend's history. I'm sure they'll tell us on here. If they don't, then nobody's got it. But I'm sure that we'll get a good idea of who she was. But it already sounds like it's a messed up situation, and they're living in the hotel room and they're threatening the kids. Awful beast of a woman. I agree, Sweet League. It's good to see you. She does have a punchable face. Misleading the police. Yep. How can they sleep? Good point. Good question. I always wondered that myself.
Police are now searching for 8-year-old Nicole Amari Hall's body and also trying to determine whether Celeste Owens had a role in her death.
Police then tried to track Celeste Owens's movements, and they found surveillance video of Celeste and receipts by Celeste, essentially renting a U-Haul truck on the 19th, which then corroborated, of course, that this did happen 2 days before the 911 call.
Police tracked Celeste's cell phone pings from the hotel to the U-Haul place, back to the hotel, tracking it into the DeKalb County, the neighboring county, and then going back to the U-Haul back in Gwinnett County. All that was captured on the Flock camera system, which reads and captures the license plates.
So this stupid biatch got a daggum U-Haul, went and took her cell phone and was on camera at the U-Haul place renting the U-Haul, and thought the cops weren't going to find out about that because they waited 2 days to report the child missing. Okay, Blue Jay, have a good day. That's a sad poll, but yes, of course, for a lot of people, that's a step up from living in their car. It is. I didn't mean to upset anybody by the poll. I just wanted to know what people's thoughts were on it. A lot of people have said sometimes people don't have a choice, and that's a good point. I think it's things that we should realize. Sometimes people don't have a choice. There could have been a fire. It's better than living in a car and things like that. She's surprised she's being locked up after what she's done. This is the story of Amari. She was found in a shallow grave. We covered everything I had on Jack and Lily Sullivan and Travis Decker. So we're watching this before we go for the day.
I got the receipt where she had signed for it from the U-Haul place itself.
Following the trail of surveillance videos and Owen's cell phone pings, police tragically find what they're looking for.
I'm deeply sad to report to you that at 10:45 this morning, the body of Amari Hall was discovered in DeKalb County near the Stone Mountain Freeway. My heart goes out to the extended family of Amari Hall. We worked diligently on this case. The investigators from our uniformed patrol officers who went out and searched the area, we worked extremely hard, and unfortunately these were not the results that we had hoped for.
So they find her the next day after they get the U-Haul truck rental receipts. In Canada, they have year-long rentals. They also have 2 bedrooms, etc. I personally have lived in one growing up for a bit. Really? That's cool. That's interesting. Tammy. I know, Lori. Sad.
Amari was ultimately found in a wooded area in a neighboring county.
They found her body wrapped in garbage bags just in the wood line.
Within the next several hours, we will charge Celeste Owen with felony murder in connection with the death of Amari Hall. Additionally, Brittany Hall will be charged with concealing the death of another.
So the mother there knew the girlfriend committed homicide on her own daughter and went along with it. Look at her in her mugshot there. Just not a care in the world. You don't deserve to wear tie-dye, ma'am.
We will continue to also investigate her role in this murder. We are happy to bring these individuals to justice. And I'd like to, once again, to thank the officers here. I'd also like to thank the residents at the Hometown Studios who were very helpful in our investigation as we searched door to door for Amari.
It tugs at your heartstrings. Here you have an 8-year-old who's just starting out in life, and she winds up in trash bags in the woods. I'm sure it took an emotional toll on all
Look at that trail, just full of trash. Just full of trash.
the law enforcement, police, prosecutors who were involved. For sure, everybody out there searching for her.
Her body was actually cocooned in 2 plastic bags. The 2 bags were anchored around her body with a black knit piece of cloth. When you have bodies that are wrapped, that goes to show maybe even elements of premeditation, because Amari's body was off the road and back into a wooded area. That means that the perpetrator would have had to have stopped the vehicle, taken her precious little body, and walked from the shoulder of the road back into the wooded area in order to discard them. There's a real attempt to try to obscure or hide Amari's body in this particular case.
Amari died from the injuries she sustained from being beaten. Juries
Oh
are
my
human.
God.
Someone
How long had they been beating that child? Because they're staying in the hotel room and homeschooling. There's no record of them being seen playing outside or anything. Like, if there's no other adult presence checking in on them, how long had she been beaten? This is insane.
has to pay.
Hey, so I know you guys are true crime fans, but are you also in a business of some kind?
Okay, we're gonna skip the thing.
Amari's cause of death, to be quite frank, was that she was beaten to death.
That is so sad. That poor baby.
There's no other simple way to put it. The autopsy report showed multiple injuries, fractured bones. In addition, she was malnourished.
Well, so Veronica said, how can you monitor the homeschooling? We don't have that, so I have no idea how that works. I homeschool, okay? But with homeschooling, part of it is the isolation factor can be taxing. So what we do, and what a lot of homeschool parents do, is you get involved in co-ops, which is like where other people in the community homeschool their children, and all the kids get together and hang out. A lot of times it's like around lunchtime during the week because we homeschool, so they're out during the day. If you homeschool, you can get discounts on going to the museum and places like that. They take online art classes. They've been doing a lot of online school lately since I've been doing YouTubing, where they're seen by other people. There's testing done at the end of the year, like the end of grade testing that you have to pay for and submit every single year. It's usually about between $35 and $45 per student, and we have 4. There's other people around us that we know, they go and volunteer a lot. Like, our interaction with other people is a lot, and you want that with homeschool. You want to do the co-ops. You want them to have like online classes with other students. Anything in the community where kids get together that are homeschooled, or kids get together in general, you always want to opt into things like that so they get that social interaction. But you have people like that don't, and then there's concern for the child because there's no other adult laying eyes on them or knowing that they're okay. I think CPS needed to check on kids that are being homeschooled. Sometimes I think that there should be a little bit of oversight into the community and programs that they're involved in. And if, like, you know of one that nobody's seen in a while or heard anything about, and they're not turning in their test, yeah. One thing I can say in Canada, anyways, anyone that goes to prison for hurting a child in any way, there is a number on your head from what I've heard. Yeah. That's why Malaya's getting threats. It's like that in a lot of places. Yeah, I mean, I think it's important because social interaction is very important with homeschoolers. And I think that people should be seen, in groups or something like that, online in a school, in an art class or something. Yeah, I agree. In my opinion, she wouldn't have custody of Meadow if they thought she had hurt her children. It's Daniel. Well, I don't know. I don't know if she has custody or CPS has Meadow. And how can the supposed homeschool parents that aren't actually doing it get caught? I'm sure if they get caught Not sure if they get caught is the right wording. Well, if you don't, yeah, I mean, they need to be making sure that the tests are turned in and things like that. Yeah. What did Tom say? Oh, it didn't show up on my side. I think CPS should oversee homeschooling. That they have had a complaint, that would constitute concern. Yeah.
The state of Amari Hall's body is damning evidence as Celeste Owens and Brittany Hall are formally charged.
She had cruelty to children first degree, malice murder, felony murder. I know they had a charge for false statements to law enforcement, hindering the location of a body. She had multitude of charges, and several charges per each of the surviving children for cruelty in the first degree.
And Brittany Hall, who's been charged basically with the same felony murder, the same malice murder, abuse charges, the concealment of evidence, child abuse, but the prosecution decided to try the Celeste Owens case first.
They had separate trials because Brittany, in her second statement to the police, blamed it on Celeste. So that's why the trials had to be severed, split off, because
I think they need to be tried separately too because they played separate roles in the crime. Nothing but a disgrace to society. These two so-called human beings beat the shit out of that little girl. I homeschooled my son and have since the year after COVID. That's when we moved into homeschooling more so. I had one that I was homeschooling before COVID because he just can't sit down. He can't sit down for 8 hours in a classroom. He can't do it. He physically cannot do it. So I was already homeschooling him, but then the girls, I started homeschooling them after COVID. He does better this way. Yeah, it's more personal, and it's more fun, and it's not, it's not as much busy work. Like you teach the lesson, once they grasp it, you move on to something else. I like the benefits of more freedom. I just don't like the social, the isolation. That's why we try to do a lot of social stuff. I see lots of people who have had multiple CPS reports put in their kids' homeschooling. Yeah, that's an issue. Like if you've had CPS reports and then you take the kids out of school, they need to be on top of that. I hope she gets justice.
those statements could not be used in Celeste's trial.
So Brittany Hall has not gone to trial yet. She's still incarcerated, awaiting her day in court.
As Celeste Owens' case goes to trial, the prosecution has a clear advantage.
And so going in, I think the prosecution had 90% home to a conviction from the start. They had the sympathy because you had children, not just the deceased, but you had children as alleged victims. So that going in tugs at the heartstrings of jurors. You had the flock cameras, you had the surveillance, you had the crime scene photos, you had the U-Haul rental, you had the tracking of the cell phone. So going in, they had a tremendous advantage.
Prosecutor Sabrina Nizam opens with a shocking cell phone video that was actually recorded by Owens herself. It shows her and Brittany Hall abusing the children. It's too disturbing to show here, but for the jury, the impact of that clip was devastating.
Turn around, put your hands up. I said swallow the food first, then take another bite, because she dropped the mashed potatoes everywhere and tried to scoop it off the carpet with a spoon. Then I said stop. She stopped and finally trying to keep going after I said stop. So I slapped her stupid ass.
Oh my God. She's eating and the girl dropped food on the floor and she said, so I slapped her stupid head. What the fuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just glimpsed is 90 seconds, just 90 seconds of the life that 8-year-old Amari Hall, her 6-year-old sister Zaire, and their 5-year-old brother Jakari Hall lived in the care of this defendant. The state will expect the evidence to show you that the young child in the middle who was slapped so hard that her head swung back
Oh my God.
is 8-year-old Amari Hall.
The stakes were very high for this prosecution because you must come home with a conviction on a case like this. Such a tragic and horrific murder, you cannot afford to lose. And so the prosecution, I'm sure, even though it seems like a slam dunk case, did not want to be cocky. They wanted to, check every box, dot every I, cross every T.
What you will learn is that 4 months after this video was made, Amari is dead. She is.
Oh my God. Let's Ride the Donkey said, I'm wondering if the kid's doctor never seen any signs of abuse. If they took him to the doctor, they might have not ever taken him to the doctor. The mother who left her 3 kids abandoned in the apartment for years, she's out on bond. Oh, that's fan-freaking-tastic. They have enough evidence to go hard. I hope they do. She is found naked. Y'all, that legit says she is found naked. What the hell?
Naked, wrapped in garbage bags.
Oh my God.
And thrown into the woods. And the evidence will show by this defendant.
The only thing concretely they did not have was direct evidence that Celeste Owens killed Amari. There was no direct evidence of that. It was not even circumstantial evidence, in my opinion. I mean, nobody ever said they saw Celeste Owens strangle her, choke her, beat her, and inflicted the fatal blows.
There will not be specific evidence in this case that pinpoints that my client delivered the fatal blow or blows to Amari. I'm going to ask you to hold the state to their burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt and return a verdict of not guilty as it pertains to Celeste Owens.
Some of the most powerful testimony in the trial comes from Amari Hall's younger sister, who spoke to police early in the investigation.
Can you say your name and spell it for us?
Zaire, Z-A-I-R-E.
What's your last name?
Hall, H-A-L-L.
Thank you.
So I wonder who actually did it. I mean, considering that they have the camera evidence of her doing that to the children, it seems that she was the normal disciplinarian. So I would think that she did it. I tell you, I wouldn't be able to contain myself around her. I'm not violent, but yeah, I don't think I would either. That's the defense attorney. I mean, you got to be able to prove who did it, who killed her. But again, that video shows that she was probably the disciplinarian.
Ma'am, how old are you?
9 years old.
Obviously, for her protection, she was testifying off camera rather than being in person in the room.
Now I want you to tell me about a typical day when you lived with your mom and Celeste in the apartment. What would you do then?
I don't know.
Did you watch TV?
No.
Did you play on your phone?
At that time, I didn't have a phone.
Did you play with toys?
We didn't have toys.
What things did you do since you didn't have toys and a phone and TV?
We looked at the wall and yeah, that's all I can think of for right now.
Just looked at the wall. When you lived there, did you get spankings?
Yes.
It's actually quite remarkable that Amari's little sister was able to give the extensive detail that she was able to give, not only to the police, but then again during trial in her testimony.
Let's talk about where you slept. When you lived in the apartment with your mom and Celeste, where did you sleep?
On the floor.
Did you have a pillow?
I don't think so.
Oh my God.
Did you have blankets?
Maybe.
There's 2 beds. Why are the kids not in one and they in the other one? Why are the children sleeping on the floor and there's no blanket down there for them to sleep on? What the hell?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's okay. Where did your brother sleep?
On the floor as well.
Where did your sister Amari sleep?
On the floor.
Did your brother ever get spankings?
Yes.
Did your sister get spankings?
Yes.
All of these minute details that the younger sister was able to remember and retell is, again, very remarkable. What a brave young girl who obviously was concerned for her sister's well-being and was able to remember all of these very specific details.
Do you remember the last night you saw your sister?
Yes, my sister went to the bathroom, and when she came out, Whitney told her to open her mouth, and she had toilet paper in her mouth. And the next morning she wouldn't wake up, and yeah.
Wouldn't wake up, okay. What else happened after that?
Next morning, Whitney tried to wake her up, and then after that, she got put in a container with a lid on it, and got put in the trunk of a car and drove to the Bad Kids Hospital.
Who put her in the tub?
Celeste.
And where did
Damn. That's evidence right there. Wow.
you say she took her?
To the to the bad hospital where kids go.
Have you been to the Bad Kids Hospital?
No.
How do you know that's where Amari went?
Celeste talked about it a lot.
Prosecutors also questioned Zaire Hall about how she suffered too.
State's Exhibit 58. What part of
I don't, Catesy, I don't know, if you're behind, I have ad blocker on YouTube, but when I'm reading articles, I don't have a way to block ads that I know of. If you know of a way, let me know.
your body?
My back.
Do you see the marks on your back in that picture?
Yes.
Do you remember where those came from?
I think so.
Okay, where do you think they came from?
A belt.
Children are wildly impactful. Their testimony can be wildly impactful on a jury for a few different reasons. First of all, for the most part, the younger the child, the less likely they are to lie. We know that they tend to tell the truth. And further, this is a child who suffered an enormous amount of trauma. And the things that she described are not the things a child would lie about. Toilet paper being shoved in the mouth, the Bad Kids Hospital, her sister being placed into a container. These are not even things that children can make up.
But then, Amari's grandmother, Brittany Hall's mother, takes the stand, and there seems to be a disconnect.
Were you ever aware that Brittany was inflicting corporal punishment on the 3 kids?
No.
When did you learn that?
When I saw it for the first time.
So I have I pay for YouTube Premium, but I don't have ad blockers on articles. This is heartbreaking. Hold on.
That about Amari? She was a very vibrant, happy little girl. We loved to play dress up together. When I would go in the kitchen and cook, she would love to come in the kitchen to see what G was cooking so she can help cook.
Amari's grandmother, Barbara Wright, seems to paint a very different picture of the child Celeste Owens apparently punished for being bad.
Damn.
While Amari was with you and attending school, did you have any problems with her as far as school?
No.
Were you ever notified by her teachers about any behavioral issues?
No.
Any fights that she had with any other students?
No.
Being disrespectful to her teachers?
No.
Was she ever disrespectful to you?
No.
Was she ever disrespectful to Mr. Wright?
Oh my God.
Did she ever wet the bed when she was with you?
No.
Sweet, you're free to have your opinions here. Why do you feel that way about the grandma? I'm just wondering. We're very open to oppositional opinions and speculations. I'd love to know why you feel that way.
She have a healthy appetite when she was with you?
Yes.
She liked to eat?
Yes. She loved Gigi's cooking.
She had hands-on contact with her, never noticed anything, never reported anything, never even reported any concerns.
Now, Miss Wright, at some point, did Amari, Zaire, and Jakari leave your home?
Yes.
Do you recall around what year that would have been in relation to Amari's death in 2021?
Amari, Jakari, and Zaire had to leave at the end of 2020. Going, yeah, 2020.
They went back to go live with Brittany Hall?
Yes.
Did you want them to leave?
No.
Would they have been able to stay with you?
Yes.
She had really lost contact with them since the start of the year. And we're
So why did she go back though? Like you guys were saying, I think it's just weird. She had no idea that this was going on. Why did the children go back with the mother anyway? A lot of you don't believe the grandma. How interesting. I'm wondering why she didn't stay with grandma.
We're talking now August, when they were living in the motel, and she said that she couldn't locate them. But there was never any police reports made.
Did you ever try calling Brittany to speak with the children?
All the time.
Tell me about how you would try contacting
I would call her cell number. I would text her. We would try to FaceTime her. There was no response at a lot of the times. And if she did, it would be weeks later. We would drive around from the last place they might have stayed looking for them.
It mystified me. If a child's missing for 8 months and you can't get a hold of them, why you would not have raised the alarm.
During cross-examination, defense attorney Rob Greenwald presses Amari's grandma on how much she knew about her granddaughter's condition.
So y'all are going to find out here what the grandmother might or might not have known. I find it interesting that a lot of you aren't really feeling the grandmother. We're about to find out.
To the best of your knowledge, was Amari ever diagnosed with autism?
Not that I know of.
Was she malnourished?
No.
Underweight, in your opinion?
No.
And you don't recall the last time you saw the kids in 21?
No, because we was calling looking for them. No.
Were you ever aware that Brittany was inflicting corporal punishment on the three kids?
No.
When did you learn that?
When I saw it for the first time.
You saw the video of her stomping on your grandchildren?
No, I saw the video when news people had it on news when the case, when they found them, and I saw them when I went to the courthouse. I saw it.
You weren't aware that your daughter was stomping on them?
No.
I don't know why she doesn't know more about the autism diagnosis, or why she let him go back with them necessarily, but I don't believe she knew the child was being abused to this extent.
It gives you pause and you think, well, why wasn't something said? What was it that you didn't observe? And unfortunately, when you live under the specter of the potential that you're not going to get to see these kids anymore, sometimes your judgment is clouded.
I don't think that they were married. I think they were just domestic partners, Cara. But yeah, they did look like sisters, didn't they? Maybe she wasn't so close to them. Very true. Very possible.
Because you think if I say anything, I'll never be in their presence again. It's one hell of a trade-off.
If there was any doubt of the...
So he's saying that she might have thought that if I say something to them about what they're doing, then they're not going to let me see the kids again, so I can't say anything. Interesting.
extent of Amari's abuse, the medical examiner shows photo after photo of the injuries she sustained. It is a lot for the jury to see, and far too much to show here.
There's a lot of stuff here. And so I tried to separate out the injuries as to this is critical. This is something that this person could die of in and of itself. Here she died from all of it.
It's not something the average everyday person, and they come into court, sees. I mean, you certainly don't see such graphic images on, on TV or movies. Very graphic testimony, very graphic images that for sure it had an effect on him.
Cause of death, multiple blunt force injuries.
Hey, Deb and Sam, I'm sorry that you've had to deal with that. I mean, as a grandmother, I would assume you would feel like you raised your children right and you didn't have that much of a reason to be concerned. But, I mean, you can't, I don't know, you don't want to pry. I don't know, it's a hard place to be in. When did the grandma last see? Because I think when she had custody of them, she says she tried to find them, but couldn't. Good to see you, Sam. It is heartbreaking. I don't think she knew they were in a hotel either. Cara said, did she know they were living in a motel? If she did, I wonder why Gigi let the kids go. She had room for them. That's a good point.
Other significant conditions, those are things that aren't reflected in the cause, but are also important in her death. And those other conditions were battered child syndrome, malnutrition, and the manner of death, homicide.
Can you define battered child syndrome for the jury?
That is a description to describe multiple wounds in multiple locations in multiple stages of healing. That is,
she had multiple wounds, multiple locations, and multiple stages of healing. This child was getting beat, I would speculate, almost daily.
a child who has been abused with injuries in multiple different areas that happened at different times, so different episodes.
It's really horrific, the injuries that this poor little girl sustained over the course of time living with these women. So she died, obviously after a very serious trauma, but a prolonged life of abuse, unfortunately.
But there's something even more horrifying about this case, something the state had revealed at the beginning of the trial.
In Amari's case, and in the case involving her siblings, one of the more disturbing elements is the fact that Celeste videotaped beating these children and abusing them.
Hey, I want to quickly thank Ups.
That's a sick sadomasochistic kind of thing. Like, why would you record that beating the children? Why would you why? That because you want to look at it later and enjoy it, in my opinion. Sadomasochistic.
It's back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. Hope you can check it out.
You've got two dominating adults in the life of these precious children that are completely and totally dependent upon you.
Cindy, I'm glad that you have unfettered access to them, and that's really good. You sound like a really great grandmother. I was not worried about them. My daughter is awesome mother, but they don't tell me because they don't want me to worry. Just found out my son has been with money for food for 4 days. Oh no. Yeah, sometimes it's hard when they try to make it on their own and they don't want mom to know they're struggling a little bit, but I'm glad that for the most part they're okay. Evidently, they were with grandma living before they went and lived with mom and girlfriend in the hotel. It would be excuse for the grandma to say, afraid of not seeing children. Her needs come after the children always. If context was lost, she would not see and raise alert concerns to Child Protective Services, ideally, yeah.
For their welfare. And not only is it not enough for you to strike them, you want to have a video record of it. This goes to a much deeper, darker place.
Yep.
As Celeste Owens' trial draws to a close, jurors are once again faced with the actual videos of the horrors Amari Hall and her siblings endured.
There were over a dozen videos on Celeste's phone.
There was over 12 videos
of the children being abused and suffering all types of beatings. How sadistic can that be? It's one thing to do it, and it's another to memorialize it in some type of video form.
It's hard to say why someone would videotape the abuse of children, but in this case, it happened.
Owens had also made some incriminating web searches on her phone.
So I'm going to ask you now to read for the jurors, and you don't have to read the date since it's all on November 19th, but at least the time and the search.
How does sewers work on the streets work? Why do kids run away? Searching.
Whoa, we're talking about Google searches. Tom, I agree. Hold on, I'm going to go back.
Time and the search.
How does sewers work on the streets work?
How do sewers on the streets work?
Why do kids run away?
Why do kids run away?
Search again. Why do kids run away? I lied.
How do I report someone missing?
Missing. Same search again at 160, 1119, 2021. How do I report someone missing? What to do if a loved one goes missing?
What to do if a loved one goes missing?
Why is it so hard to find missing people?
Things like,
why is it so hard to find missing people?
what do you do when your child refuses to listen?
What to do when a child doesn't listen?
Lakes near me, things like that, things that really showed consciousness of guilt in this case, and definitely established that they were involved somehow in this murder of Amari.
It is absolutely fascinating that in this day and age, people who commit serious crimes leave a trail of all their thoughts preceding the crime in their internet browser history.
Yep.
Absolutely fascinating. You can literally track everything. It's like saying to the police, hey, in case you wanted more evidence, or in case you really didn't understand how I got to this point, please check my computer because I'm too tired to draw a map. And that's what occurred here.
A lot of people don't know how to do those things either, like map out an area. Not that, you know, mapping out an area for this reason is good, but it's important to teach those skills. I mean, this is insane. And the things people look up on Google is crazy. Think about fucking Lacooter. Right, sweet?
Were all of those searches on November 19th deleted from the defendant's phone?
They were deleted material. Deleted data.
Okay.
By deleting that video and her Google searches, obviously those acts by Celeste Owens showed that she knew what she was doing and that she had the appropriate malice and the what we call mens rea to commit this crime of murder.
You can find this defendant guilty of every single one of these charges. It took two people to kill Amari. Two people to cover up the murder. One person who I think the evidence is clearly established is the one who actually dumped her like trash. And like I said, Brittany will have her day. But today, it's this defendant's day.
Oh my God.
Shooting right before your eyes.
The prosecutors took the case to heart, and yeah, everybody was emotionally, I would say, involved on their end. The police, prosecution, the investigators, the family of Brittany Hall, very invested. So when you say a mountain to climb, yeah, we're talking Himalaya kind of mountains.
I get the heartstrings of this case. I've got 3 kids at home. You are to base your verdict in all these counts not on the heartstrings, not on emotion, not on sympathy. You are to base your verdict on the evidence or the lack thereof. Plain and simple. There's no direct evidence she killed Amari.
I mean, he's not wrong, but with the video showing that she's the one who dealt out the punishment and the abuse, I think we can use conductive reasoning to come to a legitimate conclusion.
It was relatively quick as murder trials go. Started Monday, we finished up on Thursday with the jury verdict late in the day.
All right, Ms. Owens, will you please rise? Verdict of the jury. We, the jury, find the defendant as follows. Count 1, malice murder, guilty. Count 2, felony murder, guilty. Count 3, felony murder, guilty. Count 4, felony murder, guilty. Count 5, cruelty to children in the first degree, guilty.
She was found guilty of everything. Some charges merged together.
Stood there stone-faced.
They were duplicitous.
Before sentencing, Amari's grandmother speaks to the court about her family's painful journey.
My heart is broken in millions and millions of pieces that I have not been able to put back together. I miss Amari every day. My granddaughter did not deserve the way that she was taken out of this world. I would never get to teach her how to drive. I would even never get to see her go to a prom. Do the things that grandma do with their granddaughters. All these things I'm gonna miss. With Amari.
They're living with grandmother. Both surviving children, and they're supposedly doing very well with grandmother and grandfather.
All right, Ms. Owens, would you like to speak? Ms. Owens, please stand. I've been a jurist for 25 years. This is by far the most heinous evil that I have ever seen in my entire career. And I do not understand it. The crimes and evil that was perpetrated against these 3 children is something that I will never understand, nor will I ever forget it. Based on that, the court does hereby sentence you as follows.
Yep.
The count 1, malice murder. You are hereby sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. On the remaining counts, the court does hereby sentence you to consecutive 235 years. So life without parole plus 235 years.
Well, she got a good sentence. She ain't getting out.
You will never see the light of day to perpetrate this type of behavior, cruelty, and evilness upon another person.
Over the course of my career, I've unfortunately observed many cases of child abuse. Relative to Amari's death, it would rank right up there with the worst that I have seen because her injuries were so extensive.
Oh my God.
These kinds of cases are the worst of the worst. It's not only an innocent young child who lost her life, a child who's supposed to be protected by her caretakers, by the women who were supposed to be taking care of her. This case just reflects how difficult it sometimes is to know what's going on behind closed doors and how difficult it is to intervene in a situation of child abuse.
It's tough. I'd be honest. I had nightmares before the trial, during the trial, after the trial. And so, yeah, it takes a toll on you. It was definitely emotionally challenging. It will stay with me for quite a while.
If there's one bit of comfort we can take away from Amari's tragic death, and there's really not a lot, it's that her 2 siblings were rescued from their abusers. And now they can grow up knowing that they are safe and that they are loved. That's all we have for you here on this episode of Prime Crime.
So that was what I had on Amari. I will look out for the actual mother's interview and see what we can pull on it. I think that, yeah, you should get the death penalty for doing something like that to a child. Absolutely. Tammy said I wouldn't be able to be a juror. Honestly, I take too much pain and emotions. I'm sorry. That's so sad. I'm sorry, Tammy. She will soon be bullying other women in her pod. I bet so. Okay, Abraham. Yeah, if that is not in the replay of the video, I will link it in the description box below, so you guys can check it out if you'd like. But it should be there for a while, Abraham, nonetheless. I'm going to go for the day. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Um, yeah, I'm going to hang out. I'm going to rest. I'll probably go sit with the geese again for a little bit up in the garden and pull some more weeds. I hope that y'all have a good day and enjoy your weekend. And I will be back Monday. I should be getting another video out reading all the emails between Stephen and his parents that were just released. And I'll see if I can put out another video on the other information that we went over today with Travis Decker, the new stuff, and Jack and Lily. You think I have Canadian geese? Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out and thank you for being here. I really do appreciate every single one of y'all, and I thank y'all so much for hanging out. I will see you Monday. Yep, we will be back Monday, and I can't wait to see y'all. Oh yeah, happy Father's Day to all the dads tomorrow, and I hope y'all have a good night. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. I hope y'all have a great day, and I hope you know that you are loved. They fly there. I heard that I might have some Canadian geese. I got a really cool raised garden bed with a cover from Aldi's for $35. I'm about to plant everything today and tomorrow. You enjoy that. I love y'all too. If nobody has told you, you are enough, you are important, you are special, and you are loved. And I will see y'all all on Monday. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.